Counter zone.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the conclusion of CenterFrame's summer funding season in 2023. It is so great to be here because this has been a process where filmmakers have been able to join the CenterFrame community, network and collaborate on their projects, and then basically submit those projects to 4 funding categories and then vote on which projects should get funded. And the whole point of this process is to enable filmmakers and get rid of the whole middleman process and let filmmakers choose which projects should get made, especially as to put them in the driver's seat. Basically, that's kind of the goal that we have here. So my name is Bernard Pucher, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of CenterFrame, and joining me in the studio is another co-founder of CenterFrame. I've got Nathan Haynes here, longtime collaborator. We've been working together for, God knows, eons now, right? And also another one that I've been working with for eons, Luke Foster, the host of Script Club. We just had one last night, actually, which was really great, Memento, if I remember correctly.
It was supposedly last night, or is it tomorrow night?
Oh, well, we might be going backwards here. Yeah. Who knows? But thank you very much for joining.
I don't remember much about it.
I think you got some photos.
I know, we should have photos. Maybe we wrote it down. Thank you very much for joining me. And also joining me in the online world, the virtual world, shall we say, our in-house scribbler and head of comms, Ariana Steigman, and head of product and another co-founder of CenterFrame. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Very good. Very happy.
Good.
Awesome. So, let's get started with you, Nathan. What's this whole process been like for you? I mean, obviously we had the ideas a while back, but 2 years in the making. Now we're here. What's up?
I think it's been an evolution on what we've done before. Obviously, those of you that have been with us throughout the journey might remember some of the in-person and versions of this event where we had a patchwork quilt of tech. This time around, the tech has really come into its own and really helped us in terms of just letting us focus on the projects, right? And it's really good because this time we've had a whole bunch of people in the community whom we've not even met in person, who've had a role in shaping how the votes turned out. So it's been a really interesting process, yeah.
Absolutely. Luke, and how about you as a writer in this whole thing? Because obviously, we wear multiple hats, but you and I have pretty much exclusively worked as writer, director, producer. From a writer's perspective, what's this been like for you?
It's just been really good. I mean, I've only get to do like the fun stuff really, and just get to look at the projects and see all these really interesting projects coming in. But no, it's just been great to see such a wide variety of projects, and I think some different types of projects as well than perhaps we've seen before when we've ran these events in the past.
Absolutely. I think just when you think people will run out of ideas, always somebody comes along and comes up with something really interesting. It's like, that's brilliant. I love that. It's exciting to see when something like that comes together.
I think one of the things that's really, we should say right front and center is the standard. Really, really great projects in all categories.
I completely agree. Let's turn to the community for a second. Ariana, You interact with the community on a daily basis. So I would love to hear from you. What's that been like, sort of in the growth and the run up to this whole thing? And if you have any favorite stories you'd like to share.
Yeah, I was just thinking when Luke spoke, I'm his counterpart, so he gets to do all the best bits of reading all these great projects and looking at them. I get all the crap bits, so I get to talk when things go wrong.
Yeah. So yeah.
But I have to say it was good. So yes, people come to the help bot and then to me when things don't work or if they don't understand the process, which is not the funnest bit. But I have to say that with all and we had some glitches, to be honest, but people were super, super patient and forthcoming. We've even had people offer to help us with their own skill set. If some of the people were filmmakers, but they're also programmers or QA testers, say, well, I can help you test. If this is a glitch, maybe this will work for you. And for free, out of the kindness of their hearts, because they believe in CenterFrame, believe in the project and what we're doing. So not the great part, but really heartwarming. And we've had some fantastic, genuinely heartwarming feedback from people who said, this is good, just keep it up, plow through it, make it work, we want this. So it's good.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, it sounds like it's, while tough, it's incredibly rewarding. Speaking of rewards...
It makes it all worth it, makes it all absolutely worth it.
Absolutely. Speaking of rewards, the person who has all the numbers about the rewards and how things are happening, Louise, as our head of product and the guy who's probably suffering more than anyone here, why don't you tell us what it's been like for you trying to get this show on the road, but also, give us a bit of insight into the sort of the machinations, is that the right word, of how this whole thing is going?
No, it's been great, and like Ariana said, it's been amazing to feel the community kind of embracing what we're trying to do. And of course, we had problems. We did. And we have a very small tech team. And like Nathan said, we evolved from a very improvised kind of technology setting that we had last year when we did Get It Made to now kind of coming up with our own technology, coming up with our own logic, and having real people coming in, creating projects, testing, voting, and of course, facing problems that we, with our small team, we're doing our best to fix all those problems as soon as possible. But the patience of the community is unbelievable. And yes, I do have numbers, lots of them. Maybe I'll give you some, in doses. Total votes, 1,483.
Oh,
nice, fantastic.
From 73 countries.
Nice.
7 continents. In total, these people, to go over and look at all the projects, 10,779 page views.
Fantastic.
That's quite a lot.
Really, really great. It's so exciting. What's great about this whole thing is while we have to develop the tech, and this is the sort of the backbone of what we're doing, I think what's really encouraging is how well the ideas work. I think everybody's on board with what the idea of this is. That people want something that just works differently to what they're facing normally, where they're constantly up against either gatekeepers or the enormous task of trying to market something online, which most people don't have experience with, or even just building a track record, which is so difficult to do if you're not necessarily in a production hub, or if you're not necessarily crew. Like if you're a writer, building a track record is very difficult. So the fact that people are on board with this and want to find more filmmakers and find them globally and work together globally and get ideas globally, I think that's the most encouraging bit for me, is that while with all the issues that you can face and with all the things that you can run into, the patience comes from the embracing of the idea, and I think that's really where it sits the strongest with me. It's super exciting. Well, thank you very much. Thank you everybody very much for joining me in this very moment. I think we should move on and talk about what exactly is in store for people. What exactly are people going to get in this whole thing? So I'll be coming back to both of you guys in a little bit. So I'm going to say goodbye for a minute. So let's get to the awards, shall we? So summer funding. What exactly are we talking about? So the awards that members will get, the people that were selected by the community this time around, the projects that were selected by the community this time around, we're basically able to apply for 4 different kind of funding categories, and the rewards for each of those projects obviously vary in scale, but we're talking about £3,000 per script in development funding, £7,500 per script on completion funding. Festival funding is worth £2,000 per film, and then production funding was worth £10,000 per film. And what I haven't listed here is a special category for which we have for our Core 50 members. And the Core 50 were basically early adopters of this idea, of this platform, that have been with us for a very, very long time, and have been able to help shape these ideas as we go. So for being part of this project very, very early, we offered them an opportunity for some extra production funding, which I haven't listed here, but most of the members that voted were able to be part of this, and that kind of thing. And finally, the project owner gets a free membership for 6 months. So the people that were ended up being selected, they get to stick around for another 6 months, also to to basically develop the ideas further, but also to update us, to let us know how the projects are coming along and how things are shaping up. And because we want to know, the community wants to know. Apologies, and we just want to share it broadly and widely. That's kind of the idea. So these are the awards. So Nathan, let's talk about the rules for a little bit. I keep making you the rules person, but yeah, it happens all the time. You guys should have seen Get It Made. He had a microphone last time, properly amplified. I've got a microphone here.
How's it going?
Do not touch. Okay, so let's go through the rules for a minute.
So I'll talk to you a little bit about the rules then, guys. So just following on from what Bernard was just saying there about 6 months after the award of membership for the project owner. I could have said that a bit more eloquently, but as a project owner, if you get one of our awards, you also get 6 months free. And one of the reasons for that is to actually notify and inform the community about how the project is progressing. And now that is actually in the award agreement, which is the first thing you'll see on screen here. You must sign the award agreement within 2 months of tonight's results.
Exactly.
It will be sent to you next week, and then you get a chance to review it. You've got 2 months to complete that. Once you've completed the award agreement, you'll then have 6 months to complete the film. These films, that gives you 8 months, from receiving the document to completing the film.
But that doesn't apply to completion festival funding, because the films are supposed to be completed,
yes.
Right? So that's a whole nother story.
Well,
but,
yes, I'm talking primarily here about
production funding, exactly.
Yeah, so 8 months from issuance of the document to complete the film, and we have to have that because we really want to see these films made in a timely manner, so we can show the other members of the community what great films and what great work in general you're doing. Also,
one more thing I want to add to that. The 2 months, if you don't sign it in those 2 months, the funding will go to the runner-up,
Yeah.
So we're not going to wait around. If for some reason it takes you longer, there's nothing we can do. However, we're not completely unreasonable. If you communicate with us, there are ways to deal with these things, especially if there's family tragedy or anything like that involved. We can totally understand. But if you just lollygag around and you do nothing, the 2 months expire, then it goes to the runner-up. That's just how it's going to work.
Yeah. So, how do you receive the grant then? So there are 2 ways to do this. Generally speaking, we prefer to do lump sum grant, and this is especially the case for production funding, where on the first day of principal photography, you send us a picture of you on set with your team, and we will do a bank transfer. We do a test transfer in advance of that, so there's no hiccups on the day. But that's one way of doing it. And the other thing is services rendered, where we will pay the invoices that you might have in advance of production, so you can actually get to production. We have had feedback in the past that some people couldn't cover costs up front, and it was just delaying getting the films made. And really, we just want to see the films made, right?
Absolutely.
So this is why we're prepared to cover some of the invoices up front. But obviously that comes from the grant.
And just one more thing, on completion funding, that's the only way we'll fund it. So basically on completion funding, we don't transfer lump sum grants. On completion funding, the idea is that we only pay the invoices. We pay the colorist, we pay the post-production house, we pay that. So they have to issue invoices to us, and then we pay those. And then that in the value of the £7,500 for production. So there's no cash in the completion funding. That has to be done via services rendered.
Yeah. So that's services rendered. And then free membership starts upon the announcement. So that's pretty self-explanatory.
Exactly.
But if you win one of our awards tonight, even if you'll get the 6 months, you will not be able to apply in the next round. You'll have to apply in the round after that if you have a project that you'd like to submit next time.
Exactly. And so since we mentioned autumn, let's go straight into what the next funding round is going to be, because that basically will start next week. So I know I've said in previously that it will start tonight. That won't be possible, but it will start next week, and you will hear from us the exact day that will start, where you can start submitting your projects. And but basically, the summer funding round will start fairly soon, and the categories that are going to be available next time around. So if you're not part of the selected projects today, if your project isn't part of that, the next funding round starts really, really quickly, and you will be able to apply for that again. Any of the recipients, as Nathan said, obviously can't. But these are the categories that are going to be available.
Just very quickly. Like if you don't end up with one of our awards this evening, it's use the community, collaborate with other people, find out where it could be improved, right?
Exactly.
And just start the conversation going. Use the messaging, use the feedback rooms, get going to build your project for next time. In fact,
you could probably get feedback from the recipients, and it'd be like, hey, so what did you do? How did that work? Why don't you message them and ask them, hey, look, I've got this project. Would it be okay if you give me feedback on what I'm working on here? So, you use the community. They're here for a reason, and I think it'd be a good idea to try that, for example. So, but the categories that are up for autumn, before we get on the award winners tonight, we on the award recipients tonight, we do want to talk about the categories for the next round, which is development funding, festival funding, and then we have 2 different kinds of production funding coming out. And here's what those are worth. So we're going to be giving development funding to 4 projects, which will receive £2,000 each, but this time that will include documentary, shorts, and features. So it's normally TV pilots, feature films, but also documentary shorts and documentary features. So if you're developing a documentary short or documentary feature, you can apply for development funding there, and we'll be rewarding 4 projects with £2,000 each for that in the development funding category. Then festival funding, just like this time around, is £2,000 for festival funding, where 3 films receive £2,000 each for that in that category. But then here's where it gets interesting. We did away with completion funding, and we added more production funding, because so many people said, we want to make more films. The demand for the production funding was so high. We said, look, let's just do more. But then we thought, why don't we split it up? Why don't we give something more specific to the horror and fantasy genre? Because I think, we've discussed this multiple times. There is an imbalance between how people vote between horror and fantasy versus more traditional, more popular genres like comedy and drama. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what you think, Luke, and as to why that is, but it's definitely a phenomenon we've seen before.
It is, yes. I mean, I think people do sometimes gravitate more when in voting to more the more kind of drama type sort of projects, and maybe some of, when we've seen in the past, like some absolutely fantastic horror projects haven't quite always fared quite so well. So yeah, I mean, as a big horror fan, I'm really excited to see what kind of projects are submitted for this.
And it is kind of unfair, like a comedy shouldn't be paired up against the horror, and vice versa. They simply are just too far apart from each other to make one's better than the other. Like, it's a very, very difficult thing to decide. So just by splitting them up, it works a bit better. But also, we are offering more production funding. So instead of the £10,000 that we have this time around, we'll have £12,000 per category to increase the amount of funding that's available. And that is, I think, a super exciting prospect. Obviously, filmmaking isn't a cheap thing, so the more we can help more projects we can help, the better. So, yeah.
But this time, they have to collaborate.
Oh, yes, absolutely. A big caveat on this one, though, is that for production funding, to apply for production funding, you need to team up with another member, and that other member has to be either on the writers or the filmmakers planet. The reason for that being is we need to benefit the members more, because it is very simple to just show up with your own project and just do that. We want to help members team up. We want them to collaborate more, and so to be able to apply for this, you need to team up with another member. Find a script. If you're a director, find a script. If you're a producer, find a director. If you're a writer, find another director, find a producer. If you're a writer director, find another writer director. Maybe you're doing an anthology thing, something like that.
I mean, there's plenty of ways to find collaborators on CenterFrame. You can obviously use the platform and do a search, but even better is to come to any number of our events. So we have Welcome to CenterFrame, which we do regularly. We have Script Club monthly with...
and Luke and I are hosting weekly hangouts. Basically, they're simple, online rooms where I will be, where Luke will be. You can just come and talk, and filmmakers will gather there, as will we, and we will give you any advice we can give you, but also, we want to, see if we can team you guys up, and we will host an actual team up event to help members team up. So if all of that doesn't work, we will have something much more specific and bespoke for you guys. So, but let's move on to the awards today. I think we've kept them at bay long enough. Exactly. Let's go to the main event, shall we? Actually, before we do, I want to turn back to Louise and Ariana for a second. Louise and Ariana, are you guys there?
We're there. Hi.
Hi.
Still here.
How's it going? Let's discuss a few numbers, please, before we get into the votes. I know I said I told you not at bay for too much longer, but we do actually need to get into this. So, Louise, do you have any more data you can share with us?
I do. Interesting facts. 2 days had the peak of votes. July 8th in the very beginning, and July 17th just before closing. So we can tell people that had the hat in the ring kind of went on poking people to go and vote. But a lot of people took time to vote, and this numbers kind of blew my mind, right? 156 people had to come to the website between 15 and 25 times to vote.
Wow.
54 people came between 100 and 150 times to vote.
It does show the level of data that we gather about visits onto the site, doesn't it? Really,
the commitment of the people. It's like
what's really it's great. It was hard to decide. It was genuinely hard to decide. These projects are so different from each other. Mm-hmm. I can absolutely understand. It was difficult for me to choose.
Every time, listen to this one, Bernard. And people ask us, what's the importance of the pitch video? Why should I do the pitch? Every time a pitch video someone hit play, the user watched 65% of the video. On average, 65%.
Interesting.
And that's the thing. It is the fastest way to introduce your project.
Yeah,
it just is. And a good pitch video is worth its gold. And so that's why it is important to have. But also then you need to back that pitch video up with a really, really good script. If that's what you're applying for. Or if you're, you need to, whatever you pitch for, you kind of need to back that up too. So the quality is hugely important on this one. And what I think is great is also how many filmmakers were able to mobilize other filmmakers to, be part of the cause, to help in there. And while it was unfortunate that we did spot some people that tried to game the system with a couple of fraudulent profiles, the good thing is our system really recognized that very, very quickly and was able to sort of get rid of any fake profiles that were trying to be created, anything like that. And even anything that we noticed could have been fishy just got sorted really quick. It's just good planning and good sort of implementation on this front. And it's unfortunate that these two things do happen, but I think it's really great and a really good way to kind of secure the vote, which is sort of the most important thing for us. Do you want to add anything to that, Luis? Or
no, I would like to say that the system spotted emails that were not real. So basically, we worked if you're a paid user and your email kind of bounced or the system kind of flags there's something wrong with this email, we could use your card as a proof that you are a real person. But if you're a film buff that came to vote and we don't know you, the email is the only thing we have to try to contact you to kind of make sure you are real. So if that email didn't work, the system would flag and say, don't consider this vote.
Exactly, and I think it just makes sure that people are real people, because in the end we also want to have a network of people that can actually network with each other. So I just wanted to bring this up because I do think it's important that we care a lot about the community, that these are real people, that we're not like this like a bot village, that we want people to link up and work with each other. So now that that's done, okay, now I'm going to do it. Okay, now we're actually going to get into it. So I'll come back to you guys in a minute, and now we're going to get back into the projects. What is going on here? Why is this not shifting over?
It's not run out of battery, is it?
Let me try it again. Vincent? Hold on. There we go. Hey, we're back. Okay, technical issues. Okay, here we go.
Into tech support.
Okay. All right, let's do this. So, development funding. As I said before, development funding in this summer funding voting cycle was worth £3,000 per script, and we'll be awarding 3 scripts. These were feature films or TV pilots, non-fiction content this time around, as opposed to the next time where we will fiction content this time around, as opposed to next time around where we will also be adding non-fiction for development funding. But let's get into it. Let's see what these projects are. So, first project up is My Brother is a Mermaid by Alfie Dale. Congratulations, Alfie, for this one. It's really, really cool, I have to say. Actually, Luke, tell me a bit more about this project. Like, what is the project like?
This is a feature film project. It's about a family who, in a very kind of prescient way, can't afford their rent, so they move to an isolated seaside town. The mother starts dating a guy that then perhaps turns out to be not quite who they thought he was. But also the 8-year-old boy in the family discovers a little bit of a mystical world in a cave. It's got a bit of for me, it had a bit of a Shape of Water, Del Toro-esque kind of feel to it. Nice. It's still at a bit of an early stage. The submission was for a treatment, obviously then develop into a feature, but that's the whole purpose of the development funding, is to actually work on this further.
Absolutely.
It was a really strong picture video in this particular case, wasn't it? And I think that probably did a lot to invite people in to vote for this project.
I mean, we got to meet Alfie during the Get It Made days, and his work is really, really good. So I'm not surprised that his pitch was very strong when it came in. But I'm glad that the community responded well to it, and basically gave it its thumbs up, gave it its vote and things like that. Let's look at the next project. Which one is the next one? So yeah, congratulations, Alfie.
Well done, mate.
All right, next one is Paradise by the Way of Jordan by Amadeus Reda. Congratulations! I think it's another Get It Made person, right? With Amadeus, he was part of our networking there. This is a really, really exciting project. I think you described it earlier as a sort of a Romeo and Juliet in a council estate. Would you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, it's a bit of a romantic drama, I would say. Yes, on a council estate. It's about a love affair between a cisgender male and a trans woman, but their backgrounds and their people around them kind of drive them apart. It's a very nice story, I think, and quite unusual, really good setting. There's quite a few I saw in this entries where they were sort of set in places like council estates, more the kind of British drama type setting, but actually brought something a bit new and intriguing and some different elements to it.
I was going to say exactly that, and if you look again at his pitch video, completely different to what Alfie has done. It's him talking to the camera, but the story felt so very personal, and I think that's another thing that really came over when I looked at this pitch. You could just tell it came from the heart.
Yeah, no, fantastic. So yeah, Amadeus, well done. Congratulations. This is an exciting project, and we can't wait to see what you do with it. It'd be great to see your updates on this project. So, last one in the summer funding. No bumping. We've got microphones here, man. The last one in the summer funding 2023 voting cycle is Free Traders by Joe Gatford. I have to say, for me, this is a exciting one because we had a similar project a few years ago, which we never quite did anything with, and you also live in Brighton, so this is actually even more so relevant to you.
Bright home, isn't it?
Yeah, I do. This is very well. There's a couple of things that were very personally interesting to me. I mean, I think we should say this is it's a story about it's a TV series set in the world of smuggling in the 19th century, and apparently we had a family get together recently, and we're talking talking about the fact that my great uncle was actually a smuggler in Emsworth in Sussex.
Wow.
So that was very interesting. But also, I live in Brighton, and this series is set in this fishing village called Brighthelmston, which I didn't realise was actually turned into Brighton. I'd come across that name Brighthelm before. There's the Brighthelm Centre, and you see it around. But I'd never realised that that was the history of Brighton.
This sounds like we voted for this. Let me just remind people, this is a community vote. It just happens to be relevant to one person here, But yeah.
When again in Joe's pitch video, I got a sense that there really was a real plethora of stories that could be told. And when you think about the period which it's set and it being like the Wild West of Britain or England, I should say, in that sort of time. It's I think it could be a really, really interesting project. This because smuggling has been well documented, but I don't think everyone knows about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's also good that there's clearly a taste for this. I mean, when you look at what's the
Peaky Blinders?
Peaky Blinders.
Yeah. I think Joe mentioned
that. Exactly. So there's clearly a taste for this, and it is an exciting world. I mean, we did our research a few years ago, and we're like, wow, this is fantastic. It's unfortunate we're quite able to get this project off the ground ourselves, but this is fantastic, and I'm glad that the community liked it just as much as we did. So congratulations, Joe. Well done for putting this pitch together, and it's great. There are 3 completely different projects. Clearly, the taste of the community, they respond to good ideas, good pitches. So as a congratulations, guys. We really can't wait to see what's up next. Here's the total list of projects that are receiving the development funding. Again, My Brother is a Mermaid by Alfie Dale, Paradise by the Way of Jordan by Amadeus Reda, and Free Traders by Joe Gatford. Congratulations. So let's move on to completion funding. Completion funding has the substantial reward of £7,500 per film, which is, I think, a hugely important sum in order to get a bunch of projects finished, because a lot of times films struggle with just the production funding and can barely get that across, but often you can get so much out of film when you finish it. It's never just about the shooting. Post-production is almost just as important, if not more so, than production in itself. And so that's why the resources that you have to refine a project are absolutely essential, especially sound mix, especially great. Yeah. And if you need VFX, that applies too, And sometimes it even allows for a reshoot or a couple of inserts or stuff like that, just because it's hard to get these projects off the ground. And that's why, we thought, let's make this a substantial reward. Let's make this worthwhile for filmmakers. So, shall we find out which projects?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. The first one in the completion funding is Runouts by Dylan Shukla. Okay, congratulations on that one. What kind of project what were your thoughts on this project when it comes to Runouts?
I think you should go first in this one.
Well, this a little like we were saying earlier, it was another project set in a world in London, inner city kids, but actually bringing something very different and a bit more interesting. It's got a little bit of a thriller aspect. It's about this. I think it's based on actually the Dylan's actually real experiences. I think as when he was growing up, and it's about these kids who are playing a game, and then this teenager comes across a dead body, but then he discovers that perhaps his brother seems to have some kind of link to this death, and that causes some conflict inside the family.
Fantastic. Any more thoughts on you?
Oh, they've got a was it a BAFTA nominated actor in this project as well? I'm sure that was mentioned on the profile. But either way, it's I think we can all relate to those stories where relate to those things in life where you encounter something that perhaps you shouldn't see at a young age. So I think it sounds like quite an evocative project.
And it clearly worked well with the community, because they overwhelmingly voted for this one. And so it's really, really cool that this project is going to get to see get a final push to become even more complete at the end of it. It's really cool. And Friendship of Fish. All right. This is a project that's been with us for a while. Actually, Friendship of Fish is by Charisse Griffiths, Liz Van Ingen, and Neil McAndrew. Actually, Charisse and Liz met at our Get It Made competition around this very project, which was very, very cool, and only just missed out.
Around this time last year as well.
Was that this time last year? I think it was. Actually, I think you're totally right. And it only just missed out. Like, it was the fourth project and didn't quite get a production funding. But they were able to secure production funding through crowdfunding. So I think Liz ran quite a bit of a social media campaign there, which was really cool. So very, very exciting to see that happen. And we got to watch this in real time. And then we're like, we're going to apply for completion funding. And this was like, just do it. Let's see what the community says. And then the community, rightfully so, voted for this one. I'm very happy that they did, because it is a really charming, really heartwarming project, and I'm sure they can make really good use of the £7,500 to get this film off the ground and finished and into festivals.
Well done, Charisse, Liz, and Neil.
Absolutely, well done, well done. Okay, shall we move on to the next one? So Runouts by Dylan Shukla and The Friendship of Fish by Charisse Griffiths, Liz Van Ingen, and Neil McAndrew. So congratulations, guys. I can't wait to see how these projects are when they're finished, with all the best polishings that you can add to it. So, now, festival funding. Whoops, went a bit fast there. Let me rewind a little bit. So, festival funding, £2,000 per film. And the way that works is that the film had to be finished, it had to be a completed film, and the funding will pay for the invoices that it costs to submit to the festival. But also, if you actually get into a festival, you can use that as funding to basically go. So that is the thinking behind it, because too many filmmakers don't quite budget for how much money it costs to submit to festivals. We tend to put our money on the screen, and then we go, okay, but now what do we do?
Because you just don't know how well it's going to turn out, whether you're going to get to go to these festivals half the time.
Well, that's the thing. Submitting to festivals is often requires a bit of luck. You need to fit into the right category, right profile, all that stuff, and it can drain your pockets quite a lot. As somebody who's submitted quite a few festivals, but also script competitions, I do see it when my pockets drain out a bit, and some support, would have been really, really helpful, especially in the early stages of my career, to be able to do this with my previous films. So let's look at, and so we're rewarding 3 films. The community has chosen 3 projects to basically reward with £2,000 per film. And first up is The Snip. Congratulations, Adam Smith. I love this project.
So did I.
And so I think we're all sort of middle-aged men here. I think it definitely spoke to us directly.
Some more than others.
Let me bring Ariana up here. I'm not sure this project suits you.
Is the only one without the relevant organ? Is that the idea?
I think so, yeah. But certainly it does affect the female perspective. But I think we have 4 middle-aged men here. I think we all sort of understand the issues that this project was talking about, and I think the community agreed. The community very, very much voted in favor of this one.
It's funny.
It is very, very funny. I thought the film was really.
It would have had my vote, if nothing else, to see the dog and then the person's head in the cone. That's enough. You can have the money. That's great. I'm bought. I'm in.
Yeah, no, the poster is fantastic.
It's so funny.
No, is a really...
I've got an interesting stat on this one.
Oh, okay.
This video, The Snip, was the most watched video of them all.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. It's so good.
There was a user from Saudi Arabia that got a bit carried away and watched the film 14 times.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Somebody
likes the film a lot.
I think that man's wife has asked him to go through the snip, and he's like,
exactly. Is that what it's really like? So it is a very revealing statistic there, Luis. Thank you very much. I have to say this is easily one of the funniest pitches I've ever seen. It's a great, great film. It's really well put together, and congratulations. Guys, I'm going to go back to the slide here, so I'll talk to you guys in a sec.
Just very quickly on this. So Adam attended one of our Welcome to CenterFrame events.
Yes, he did, yeah.
And it just goes to show the power of coming to those events where you can actually learn about funding opportunities and what's available,
exactly,
and what you can do here on CenterFrame.
Exactly, and he's a really accomplished producer too. So if you're looking for somebody to team up with, I think he's definitely worth getting in touch with and seeing what he's working on, what he's looking for, and the more projects we can support, the better. And he's great. I think he's based in the north as a northern producer,
I think so.
and super talented guy who really knows how to pick projects very well. And this project is
Very deserving.
I was gonna think of a bad pun, but I think I'm just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations to Adam for putting this project forth. Festival funding, it is for it because it absolutely deserves it. Well done. Next one is Under the Blue by Linda Ludwig and James Curl, the attached to the hip directing duo that we keep talking about. Like, they are so attached that they appear as one profile on the CenterFrame community. So they are super talented filmmakers. I'm not surprised that this project did well with the community because it is a very, very strong project. And I'm really looking forward to see how well it does in festivals. I was very, very compelled by the simple pitch video that they put forth and such strong performances. They visually and story-wise just knock it out of the park every time. So exciting. Congratulations. Do you guys want to add anything about this?
No, I agree. It's very tense, very suspenseful. I think it's got Nicola Walker's in it as well as an amazing actor. I can see this playing out very, very well in festivals.
Absolutely. This is an exciting pair to watch. They're fantastic filmmakers, and so glad that the CenterFrame community can be part of their journey. So congratulations, James and Linda. Really, really well done. I really can't wait to see what your updates are on this one, and I'm glad that CenterFrame can be part of it. So well done. Okay, and last but absolutely not least is Trees. Congratulations, Jen. It's exciting to see this project come off the ground. It was a difficult one to pitch. I remember reading the script of it, and it's really cool that they actually got the project made because it's not an easy one to make. Yeah. It's a really, really important topic to address as well. So yeah, I'm excited that that the community felt the same.
Yeah, I think with this film, it was it's the real people. It's such a personal story. It's very it probably doesn't have some of the polish that some of the other projects have, but at the same time, it's got tremendous. It speaks to so many people,
exactly.
And I think it's an important film, and I think it's one of those things that it really doesn't matter how rough around the edges certain aspects of it are.
Yeah,
this is a real important story that needs to be told.
And I think the community understood what this is, and while it's not the most refined and the most polished project, I think they understood what it was about and what it's for and why they ended up voting for it. Yeah,
I guess it's just it's not just about how great looking your film is.
Exactly,
it's really more than that.
Exactly, I think I think the community recognized that. Yeah, so it definitely deserves to be here. So congratulations, Jan, and your husband who helped you make the film. So congratulations. I'm glad to see that it's up here. So okay, let's move on to the last category, the Core 50 production funding. The Core 50, like I mentioned earlier, are a group of filmmakers that have been helping us develop this project. CenterFrame's been a tricky one to get off the ground. There's a lot of new ideas that we're trying to pursue, and we basically invited a set of experienced filmmakers to basically help us refine the ideas and get this project off the ground. And we offered them, in return for doing this, we offered them the opportunity to submit for production funding at the value of £20,000 for one of their projects, and they've definitely delivered. So some of these projects that have come in have been absolutely fantastic, and while we can only reward one, I hope they definitely make it off the ground. They're all really, really good, and I know we've had quite a bit of interest in these projects as well because they are very established filmmakers, so it's really, really cool to see the interest on that one, and I'm really excited to be able to reveal this project to you guys. So the rewardee of the Core 50 Production Fund is Rouge by Séverine TB. Séverine is a French producer based in Cannes, actually, but with Middle Eastern heritage, as well as the director. She's a female director from Saudi Arabia, a really, really talented filmmaker with a really, really strong story. In fact, Ariana, I think you and we spoke earlier about this. About this project. It's a really, really strong sort of narrative about sort of what it means to be a woman in a very, very visual media. I'd like to hear your thoughts about it.
It will speak to many women, particularly in our medium, who feel the pressure to stay forever young and forever beautiful, and the fact that we are measured on that, on face value, shall I say? Terrible pun, sorry. But it's not enough to do good work and make sense. You have to look the part if you want to. Chanel said, right? If you look like a frump, they'll see the frump dress. If you look like $1 million, they'll see you. And it's having to always live up to that. It's a lot of pressure, and a lot of women harm themselves in the process, not to mention drain their bank account. So it is an important aspect to address. Absolutely.
I completely agree. I think it's a very, very strong story. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I agree as well. And also, I think what I particularly liked about this was that it's dealing with this very important story, but issue, but it did so in a very kind of while still telling a very compelling, suspenseful, a little bit creepy in places story. It's not, it's not. It would have been easy to have been a bit heavy-handed or try to sort of hammer home the message a little bit, but it doesn't. It's done in a very kind of, in a way that still draws you in and tells you a really engaging story.
Yeah, it's a really talented filmmaker as well.
I do think it's also interesting because this obviously a story about like Botox and treatments like this, and it would be very easy to have that story set in the West. But the fact it's set in where in the Middle East where it's set, it gives it just this other aspect, this other interesting quality about how Western values have perpetuated across the world, not always for the best.
But not also how universal some of these problems are. That they sometimes it's not just a Western issue that has basically performed, but it's also something that is emergent within us, and how badly we can be judgmental of other people, and how far we go to not be judged that way, to prevent that kind of judgment. And that is intrinsic. So it has this really lovely, almost bipolar, dare I say it, perspective on it. I think it's really good. I've said it's a very intriguing project, but it was one intriguing project among several intriguing projects in the Core 50. So I'm very, very glad that this project made it, but the projects that
closest race we had.
Yeah.
50.
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult choices. So I'm not surprised that it did well, but again, it was very tight among all the others. So congratulations, Severine. It is a fantastic project, and the community basically chose yours over the others. And I agree, it is a great film, so I can't wait to see how it comes together. And the £20,000 go to Rouge. So well done, congratulations. So let's move on to the there we are, to the final category of what happened here? That is not intentional. There we go. The final category of production funding, which is £10,000 per film, and this was by far the most popular category. More filmmakers tried to apply to that than anywhere else, and unfortunately there were only 20 slots that we could accommodate this time around. That will not be the case in the autumn category. In the autumn category, as many filmmakers as want to apply can apply, so there's no limit to the slots that are going to be available. So that's not going to be the case that time around. This time we had to limit it to 20 slots on a first come first served basis. So there was a lot of demand, and there's a lot of quick demand. Like a lot of people applied very, very soon for this. So it was a very exciting one to watch, and some really interesting projects in there too. And it was quite exciting. I don't know. I watched this one very, very closely because I was very curious as to which projects would come in. How about you?
No, I watched it all very closely as well. I think we all did. And that first come first served was never our ideal destination. It was a needs must for where we were at that particular point in the journey. But we had some really great submissions here, didn't we? I
mean, this is always the big worry, right? Like you worry. The biggest worries that I had in putting this whole together is it just going to be mostly one group of people, mostly going to be men, mostly going to be this, going to be that? Do we have to force something on diversity? Never had to do any of those things. We have a super diverse bunch from all over. Granted, we are Britain based, so there's quite a few Brits, no question, but I guess, like Louis said, we had votes and submissions from all over. Exactly. Male directors, female directors, trans directors. It's been a really lovely, creative bunch from all sorts of perspectives, and this bunch really underlined that, like how many different kinds of ideas. And I know I had some personal favorites, which I unfortunately know didn't make it, you know, but they're really great projects in here, and I do hope that they will try again in the next funding round, because there's some in there that actually have a really, really good shot at it, and definitely should try again in the next time around. Because I definitely noticed that that a couple of the horror projects that were in there could definitely do better the next time around if they were more paired up with other horror films, and the same is true for some of the comedies and dramas.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was quite close in places.
Exactly, it was very close in some places.
Shall we jump into it?
Shall we? It's only one. Like the others, we have like multiple ones to milk, and I'm trying to be all big brother about it. You know? So how long can I make you wait? All right, so let's get into it. Which project is the project that will receive £10,000 to get made? And which project is the one that the CenterFrame community voted for? It is, drumroll, Outside Noise by Ethan Evans. Congratulations, Ethan. I know you have quite a few things to say about it, because I know you like this project a lot.
I love this project, and this did actually buck the trend, actually, of this one bucked that trend, and it is very, very well deserved. I mean, yes, it's a very short film, five, 6 minutes probably. It's about a woman who uses a sleep ambience app to try and sleep, but then the sound she's hearing start to kind of turn more into real life, and she becomes haunted by these ghostly visions. Really, really well written script, fantastic visuals, great use of sound in the script as well, and just I mean, it's one of those. It had like a log line that was just really in a really good way, was just very simple, but just was very kind of compelling and engaging. Really nice short film that works very, very well in on itself, but also could work very well as, and I think this is the filmmaker's ambition. It also works very, very well as a teaser trailer as well. A cold open type thing. The whole thing, that we were saying earlier, it plays out like a classic kind of horror movie pre-credit cold open, where you see a character's introduced, they get killed off by the threat, and then you then introduce some more characters who are then face the same threat that we saw in the opening.
Yeah, it's and the point is that it's a contained story. It's 5 pages. I think this is the perfect thing for a short film. I mean, it's exactly what you want from a narrative. Contained, really clear, super strong visuals, really strong character. You know, I have to say, like, this definitely, I totally get why people responded to it.
Yeah, so do I. I think it's Ethan. It's a 2-person team, isn't it? Ethan. Because in the picture video, it's Ethan and I can't remember the young lady's name. She's sitting next to her. I'm very sorry.
You kind of walked your way into that one. But I think it's just I just want to say that Ethan is a super talented filmmaker. He has quite a strong resume, even supported through the BFI as well. So it's a really, really fantastic story, and I'm glad it's a horror film. I'm glad that the community, decided, look, you know what, and it did get closer. In fact, Louise, is there something we can talk about data-wise?
Well, no, there was. Yeah, go ahead, Ariana.
I just want to say, I know the name Ethan Evans because he was one of my clients. He had a rough time submitting. It's like almost everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Like the poster didn't go, the video didn't go. I remember just talking to him, like, hang in there, we'll get you in, we'll get you, just please, it's almost there. And then he wins. I mean, how magical is that?
So personal reward for you there. Well done.
We stuck through. We got him through, and glad we did.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And anything you want to add there, Louise?
Well, sorry for that, Ethan. Doesn't mean to.
He's fine now. I think he's happy now. We're good. I think he's
a happy camper. Yeah.
No, but it was the category we had more submissions. It was the category where people spent a lot of time and came back and back again. And I think there was this thing of making sure the users making sure they would give the money to the right project. And that is so interesting, how it feels the weight, right? Absolutely. They come back and they come back again before they vote.
Because they're filmmakers. It matters.
Absolutely. I think if there's one thing that, from my perspective, and maybe your data, and I got this from a separate conversation we had data-wise, is that while we had the majority of filmmakers voting in individual categories, right? So they basically, whatever category that they submitted in or anything, or had an interest in, they voted there, and then didn't vote that often in other categories. But we saw quite a few that did, you know. And what's really interesting is that this was definitely the most popular category. It had the most projects in, had the most votes, it had the most everything. But even then, you know, what I would like to see more of is more filmmakers joining the remaining categories and voting more on other projects, you know, because it is about more than just the one category that you're in. And so what we'd like to see more the next time around is a bit more of that, you know, communal, let's vote for all the projects type environment, you know. And it's great to see that obviously people came and people voted, and we did see quite a few people that voted across all the categories. But I'd like to see more of that. You know, it'd be really cool to try that, and I think it's going to be up to us to try and, you know, get them going. Like, come on, cast more votes, you know, that kind of thing. So that's going to definitely be up to us. Anything you guys want to add to this conclusion of this to this thing? Because I think we're kind of out now. We pretty much said everything we needed to say.
Not much more to say, is there?
Anything you want to say, Louise?
A lot.
Yeah,
Yes?
go ahead.
No,
I think it's been great. I think the level of the projects was incredible. We had as you said before, the variety, the kind of it's you could tell filmmakers are bringing heart and soul to this.
Yeah.
And the pitch videos some of them were like hilarious, some of them were like emotional, some of them, and I feel like every time we hold this voting round, it's like it's emotions all around, and that's what we want, right?
Exactly.
You know what? I'll say one other thing about those pitch videos. Quite a few people, unsurprisingly, mostly the writers, said, are you sure about this? Not comfortable in front of the camera. Do I have to? I really don't want to. But I said, sorry, yes, you do. And with some of the pitch videos, you can see that people are not comfortable in front of the camera, and they plow through, they get across what they need to get across and do it anyway. And some of those people got votes. So do it. You're not comfortable. You don't
Oh no!
think you're screen relevant or whatever. Bullshit, just do it. It's worth it.
We did get that question.
So people see that you put your heart into it, even if you don't. Even if you stumble in your words, it's fine.
I completely agree. I think people vote for people, and the people love voting for people's ideas. And I think in the end, you know, this is the reason why it was so important for us that the members that vote are real people, because, you know, you want to make sure that the responses and the things you're pitching towards are people that care, you know, and they want to see the best kinds of projects. And I think that's the thing we're trying to build is, you know, something that is collaborative, something that is a community, and all the more reason to make sure that the profiles are right, that the people, you know, fill out their bios and, you know, upload photos of themselves so we can see who they are, and so they can see each other and that they can meet each other. And it's really important. So to all the filmmakers that did participate in this and that are part of this community, you know, if your bio isn't filled out, fill it out. If you need to add more awards, add more awards. Like, the more we can know about you, the more other filmmakers can know more about you, the more likely they are to collaborate with you. And as we're building the platform and as more members come, you know, the more we hope to see a teaming up of ideas, of cultures, of genders, of everything. We want people to work together. We want people to collaborate, because that's what we're trying to build. We're not trying to build a platform of attention. We're trying to build a platform of collaboration, and that's basically what we're trying to do. And what's really exciting is that I think all these projects really kind of resemble that. You know, they're very, very broad, diverse groups from all over, you know, and I'm so happy to see that these filmmakers are able to take these projects further, you know, get them into festivals, get them made, you know, get them completed, you know, and to develop the first draft, to develop the next draft of their script. So this is a super, super exciting thing. Anything you want to add before we wrap this up?
Just congratulations to the funded projects, really. Some really great projects there. Keep up the great work. We can't wait to see what you make.
Absolutely.
And go again.
Exactly. Yeah. Stick around for the next voting season, because I think it's totally worth trying again, and improving the project, and maybe teaming up with someone, and getting even more out of it. We saw such a great journey from the Get It Made competition when filmmakers teamed up with others that they wouldn't have necessarily teamed up with initially, and some of them are still teams and are still working together. And that's what we're trying to foster, is more collaboration, more projects, and it's so exciting to see filmmakers working together on this one. So to all the recipients, to all the people that have funded projects, I'm gonna go on Instagram now, and I'm going to have a bit of a live call there, and you guys are more than welcome to join me. So I will see you guys there. Anybody who has Insta, please come on this call. I'd love to hang out with you guys for that. And thank you, Ariana. Thank you, Luis. Thank you,
I'll give you one last
thank you,
number
Luke.
in this
And
call.
also thank you to my son over here who's been operating the cameras. I highly appreciate you coming in.
Vidal's got one more stat.
Oh, do you have
One
more
last
stat?
number on this
One last
call.
number.
Yeah.
CenterFrame funding 14 projects.
14 projects.
That's great, man.
That's what it's like now, and we're going to add 10 more in 3
amazing.
months. Exactly.
Yes,
we're gonna add 10 more in 3 months, and hopefully we'll grow the community more, and we'll see even more exciting projects. So join me now on Instagram. I will go live in a minute, and thank you again to everybody that was here. Thank you very, very much, Ariana and Luis. I highly, highly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Outside Noise, again, congratulations for being a project that is gonna get made, and again, congratulations to Rouge for getting the Core 50. You will now, as a recipient, will be able to put this badge onto your project. You can put it on your script, you can put it in your resume, you can use it on your socials. We don't do laurels because we're not a festival, we're a community, but this badge basically verifies that your project has been funded, has received development funding, completion funding, festival funding, and obviously you will have to now get in touch with Nathan,
I'll get in touch with you.
yeah,
sorry.
I'll get the other way around.
I will.
But to basically complete this whole thing. So please definitely do. We can't wait to get your projects off the ground and to get them going. All right, so, and congratulations, and thank you very much. I highly appreciate you guys tuning in. If you are not part of the CenterFrame community, if you're tuning in and just watching, go to CenterFrame.com, become a member, become a filmmaker, become a writer, team up with other members, and develop a project that you can apply for funding in 3 months' time. And I'd love to see you guys there. It would be really great. We're growing this community more and more, and the projects have been great, and I expect to see even more great projects from you guys. So please go to CenterFrame.com, sign up, and also check out our shows. We've got quite a few. Luke Foster has Script Club. I'm hosting Make It Short, as well as I have a really great CenterFrame interview coming up with Khalil Maftab from the Red Sea International Film Festival. He's the head programmer there. So I've got that coming up, and
Welcome to CenterFrame.
welcome to CenterFrame. And on Mondays, Luke and I are hosting the Hangout, so make sure you go to CenterFrame.com and check out the events there, and be part of the community. We'd love to see you. We'd love to hang out. And we're going to do this every 3 months because this is supposed to be a continuous process, and the more you guys can be part of that process, the better. Thank you very much for tuning in. This is now the summer funding season over, and the autumn season begins really, really shortly. I will see you guys then. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.